15th of the 6th, 2025. And we have ourselves some breaking news, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, that Red Bull have lodged themselves, not one protest, but two against King George Russell of Kings Lynn, Norfolk. Techier than techie things, I tell you. But sometimes, George, when you play stupid games, you will get stupid prizes. And this isn't diminishing from the achievement that was George Russell's victory over this race weekend. Of course, he was brilliant. It was quali. He was god tier, a 10.5 up on Max Verstappen, for Pete's sake. That's all that you need to know. F1 maths will tell its own story. But if you're brake testing and driving erratically under safety car, then sometimes Red Bull, who always race hard, are going to lodge themselves a protest. Here's what we know, and this is breaking news, proper chat. In the first instance, Chris Medland posted this on the Twitters, that Red Bull lodge a protest against race winner George Russell heading to the stewards at 17:50 hours local time. That, ladies and gentlemen of the F1G, was 40 minutes ago. Max and Horner and team representatives and George Russell and Toto Wolff will be in with the stewards as we are talking now. In the first instance, or second instance even, Chris Medland, for the avoidance of doubt, all F1 journos are created equally, but some mention their names. Chris Medland are created more equal than others. You get where I'm going with this. He writes, Christian Horner has confirmed that the protest relates to two aspects, not one. One is erratic driving behind safety car, braking on the straight, and the other is dropping too far behind the safety car. If I recall correctly, per my very noddy F1 mind, you can't be 10 car lengths behind the safety car. Surely they're reaching, Christian Horner, Max. Surely they're just reaching. Well, let's see what they said. Here's the official protest, by the way. Let's read it. So again, the FIA states that the protest is around the driver and team. So the driver and team representatives are required to report to the stewards at 17:50 hours. Bloody Nora! In relation to the incident below, protest has been lodged against car 63. Protest lodged by Oracle Red Bull Racing against the driver of car number 63. Oh, the humanity. From the stewards to team manager of Mercedes AMG Petronas F1. It's going to get techie, I'm telling you. So I looked at it, I looked back and I thought, you know what, the erratic driving, go on, let's analyse, let's try and break down both instances. In the first instance, erratic driving, I think that case is tenuous. Did George move to the left with a view to try and induce Max Verstappen into getting a penalty? Lest we forget, if you overtake the car in front under safety car circumstance, that it's akin to a red flag or a yellow flag. It's not allowed. You will get yourself a penalty. But the driver leading the safety car queue has to drive in a way that's predictable. They can't do this erratic behaviour, can they? Could you argue that George Russell, in moving to the left-hand side and trying to brake test per se while Maximilian Verstappen, could you argue that that was a brake test? Ergo, moving, driving erratically, you could make that case, and Christian Horner et al. Will do. But here's where I think that George might have a serious problem on his hands. That's subjective, right? The erratic driving. But what's not subjective, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, is that if I recall, 10 car lengths is the maximum distance that the lead driver of the safety car queue is allowed to be behind the safety car. If I recall correctly, there's something in the sporting code of conduct and all regulations that states that drivers cannot drive unnecessarily slowly, erratically, or in a way that could be deemed dangerous to other drivers or personnel. Ergo, 10 car lengths. I can't read it in this bloody thing. I'd researched it before, I promise you, and I had the text ready to go. But if I recall correctly, 10 car lengths is the maximum distance between the lead car of the safety car queue and the safe. That means that if indeed you deem for this picture to be greater than 10 car lengths, then George Russell is doing himself a cheeky penalty. Now, he drove brilliantly, didn't he? He was fantastic. I would argue that he deserved the victory, but bloody Nora, that looks like 10 car lengths to me. Colour me blind, call me noddy. I think that's 10 car lengths, chat. Greater than 10 car lengths, maybe 15, maybe even 20. Ergo, rules are rules are rules. And so King George Russell deserves a penalty now. Am I barking up the wrong tree? Am I being too noddy in my F1 speculation and conjecture. I think we're going to get news shortly that King George Russell of Kings Lynn Norfolk might be gonzo. Spa 2024 settings, because again, sometimes when you play stupid games, King George, you get stupid prizes. Was it being malicious against Maximilian Verstappen? Absolutely, but can you forgive him that the altar of being subservient, a killer of an F1 driver, a young hungry lion? Of course you can. Of course you can. Was it vindictive? Of course it was. Was it spiteful? Of course it was. Is he greater than 10 lengths behind the safety car there? I would argue absolutely. Abso-flipping-lutely. What are you talking about? And if I recall correctly, as far as the rules and regs are concerned, 10 car lengths is the maximum distance that you can sustain as the lead car in a safety car queue behind the safety car. If George Russell is deemed per the FIA stewards to be longer, further away than 10 cars, then he's bang to rights, eh? Take that one to the bank, chat. I think he might be in some big trouble here, and over the next half an hour or so we will hear from the likes of Chris Medland whether George Russell is still the Canadian Grand Prix race winner. It's going to get techier than techie things, chat. I feel bad for George. I do feel bad, but you know what, sometimes, chat, when you play silly games, you get per George Russell of Kings Lynn Norfolk, you may get silly prizes. As I'm talking to you, breaking news, remember, so I'm just refreshing Chris Medland to see, as we round third base, whether the news has broken as to whether George Russell has got himself a cheeky pen. I don't know. I'm refreshing harder than hard things. Go on, let's have a look. No news just as yet, but again, breaking news that George Russell is potentially at risk at losing himself, just like he did in Spa 2024, at losing himself 25 points at the altar of a cheeky 5 or 10 second penalty. Why? Because he infringed upon the rules, and rules are rules are rules. If you are greater than 10 car lengths as the lead car behind the safety car at any given time, you could call erratic driving or just a flagrant break of the rules. Going to get techier than techie things, eh? Stay tuned. Chat, George Russell at risk. Oh, indeed. We will state it. I'll keep. In fact, let me refresh one more time before I go, because I'm keen to see this from Chris Medland. He will update you. Log into Twitter and follow that chap, because Chris Medland, one of the goatiest ones. Let's have another quick check as we round third. This is chaos, man. I'm meant to be in bed, chat, by the way. But again, had to come on and speak to this, didn't I? No updates just yet. Red Bull have lodged a protest. Come on, Chris, update us. Go on, let me check another source just to see. I think they might still be in there, just going back and forth. No news yet. Oh, the humanity. Go on, I'll go another couple of minutes. Have you heard about Luca De Meo, by the way? More breaking news that Luca De Meo is due to step down as CEO of Alpine Renault. So what does that mean for the dude that he hired, Fabio Briatore? Where's he going to go? Executive advisor, potentially not. Will they sell to another team? Mention no names, Lucky Sons, High Tech, somebody else. Otmar Saf now, potentially. This is Ted Kravitz reporting on the Notebook, whilst we await news as to whether George Russell is still the victor of the Canadian Grand Prix. Again, under investigation, being protested by Red Bull, Oracle Red Bull Racing at the altar of being 10 car lengths adrift of the safety car as the lead car. You can't do that, mate. Can't do that. There's the rules. As much as it would be a shame, that, ladies and gentlemen, there are the rules. Chris Medland hasn't refreshed, not updated us just yet. Right, I'm going to go. Stay tuned, chat. If I see news, I will come back and we will update it. We'll talk about it. George Russell, for the avoidance of doubt, to summarise, at risk of losing himself a Canadian Grand Prix race victory. Why? Because of two things. Red Bull have protested on the grounds of erratic driving, a pseudo brake test per se, and then that George Russell, at the moment when he brake test, at the zenith of the brake test moment, that George Russell was greater than 10 car lengths behind the safety car, meaning therefore that George, playing stupid games, might get himself stupid prizes and a cheeky 5 to 10 second penalty, which would cost him, therefore, the victory and 25 points. Oh, the humanity.